just start by welcoming everyone to the Xceleran community group. This is our first event, obviously. I'm Gary Rotting. I'm the co-founder along with Sean Marzola. Sean, say hi.
What's up, everybody?
And we're going to use this webinar to kick this group off and start by reviewing why this group was started, briefly tell you who we are, go over what we kind of see as the initial goals for the group, and then most importantly, do a shallow dive into the core technology for organizing and automating business software and workflows. So with that, I'm going to go off screen so you don't have to be distracted by me, and we'll get started. All right. So what's this group all about? Well, a recent study by our technology and development partner Intuit found that small businesses were using on average 16 pieces of software. And, you know, for a major corporation with all kinds of IT and training resources, that's probably okay. But for most of us, I think that's a pretty big challenge. So it's our hope that this group is going to take on the concept of mastering this menagerie of software, and as the saying goes, herd the cats, and hopefully such that our software stacks work for us and not the other way around. Just real quickly, a little bit about us. We've been pioneers in the cloud software business since 2005 with our sister company, or My Service Force, which created field service software. We introduced the first field service smartphone app, actually on a Microsoft platform, believe it or not, in 2006. Integrated My Service Pro into QuickBooks Desktop in 2007. Introduced a free Apple and Android general services app, My Service Jobs, in 2015. We've integrated our software now and other companies for Intuit into QuickBooks Online starting in 2017. And we used all that experience in some of our software to spin out Xceleran, our sister companies, in 2021. Like you, we're a small business, and our passion is helping other small businesses succeed through technology and services, both our own and our partners like Intuit, Global Payments, and others. And our goal here is to be an integral part of the success of our customers. You can see we have a significant product list and services, starting with our ERP, Xceleran Central, all the way to business process outsourcing and virtual employees. As I mentioned, Sean and I have been our co-founders of Xceleran. We've been together hanging out as partners and best friends for over 20 years. We both come from entrepreneurial families. Sean's in trade services, mine in logistics. We also independently or together have started 9 businesses, including a very successful IPO on NASDAQ. We're very keen on using our own products and philosophies. As a result, we've been able to recruit worldwide to ensure that we have the best talent and offer our services at great values. And before moving into the meat of this presentation, I just want to introduce Gannon Rotting, who's our Director of Marketing and will be the primary administrator of the group page, and also Bambi Weevil, who is our Director of Partnerships, and will also be very active, and they're both on with us today as well. So enough of us. Let's talk about the goal for the group. Our tagline, as you've probably seen, is mastering small business software. To us, that means corralling the software in a way to create efficiency, growth, and profitability in our businesses, and also to reduce friction internally and with customers and suppliers. And as a small business, I think you can agree that we need to do that very effectively and affordably and in a fashion that's easy to use. Some of the problems will be taking on, obviously, the idea of a whole lot of apps. What works, what doesn't, the lack of integration between them and the difficulty in using them. And obviously we need to manage costs carefully. So we'll look at all those issues. And then one of my favorites, reluctance to change, probably the biggest thing that slows us down as companies from really implementing new ideas and new software. We'll be looking at solutions, and one thing I say right up front is that we know one size does not fit all. We're here to have a very open discussion on creating your business software ecosystem that fits your circumstances. But I think at the very least, we can agree the goals should be automating workflows, integrating data, reducing friction in the process that potentially lose opportunities and employees. And then, of course, tackling entropy. And I think the best way to do that is going to be learning from others. So we're really looking forward to your posts, thought sharing, and guests that we can bring in. Unless we have some, potential topics we'll be looking at. But most importantly, we really are interested in what you'd like to be looking at. So please let us know and post any topic that you'd like us to do some research on, or provide any knowledge that we might have on it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to get into what today's technology topic is. And that's really what a business software ecosystem is, or an ERP as they're called, and what the benefits are to us to implement those. I'm just going to check to see if we have any. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep rocking and rolling here. All right. And now I'm going to slow down a little bit. I wanted to get through all that kind of stuff so we can really take a little more time on the technology side of this. And we're going to use the term business software ecosystem and ERP quite a bit. Business ecosystem is a bit of a nebulous term, but the technical world does share a pretty consistent definition of an ERP. Now, an ERP supposedly means enterprise resource planning. I don't know what that means. It's something that I can tell you historically from the 60s, and really it was geared around manufacturing. But it has become very clear that it's what it means to technology, and that is, it is a piece of software that organizes and automates and integrates core business processes. I personally get a kick out of the SAP statement here, and statement on their because it's, quote, providing a single source of truth, unquote. I'm not so sure about that. But in any case, let's drill down on what an ERP looks like for a typical small business, and also look at a couple examples of how it works to integrate processes and automate workflows. So we typically see companies addressing 4 needs through processes and software. You get the customer engagement, which we call front office. You have administration or back office. And then you have production, which for us is usually some form of field service, service type software, but it could be manufacturing, distribution, purchasing, etc. And then there's a group of software that is outside the critical business workflow, but are still needed regularly and are generally thought of as important. So what I'd like to do is to use our small business ERP, Xceleran Central, as an example of this. So Xceleran Central is the command and control portion of the business ecosystem, our ERP. And this is our dashboard. And the tabs across the top are used to access individual software components. Front office software includes our customer engagement center software, CallPop intelligent phone answering software, and MailChimp email marketing software. And these are all integrated with our backend office software, which includes Intuit's software for bookkeeping and time tracking and payroll, our payment processing platform, as well as additional features in our customer engagement center, like scheduling. And then in this case, we have our production software includes our field app. And in this example, an integration for one of our client suppliers, Hunter Douglas, to their purchasing system that we actually integrated into QuickBooks Online for them and into it together. And integrating them into this example of business software ecosystem is a good example of how an ERP should be able to be customized to meet your circumstances. And then we do have a couple of ancillary products, this case Recruiting Path, our applicant tracking software, and then reputation and competitive analysis software. So while these all having these available in one dashboard is pretty cool, and it has some benefit in and of itself, that's not the ultimate objective of an ERP. That objective really is to integrate these software components to automate workflows and share data. So that's what we're going to look at next. And we'll do it through a couple of fairly simple examples. This is a very simple common, and you'll hear the term workflow a lot. And this is an example of a very simple one. That's a customer requesting a service call. And it uses a number of data sources. And if they're not integrated and automated, things can become quite cumbersome, subject errors, and certainly induces friction between the customer and the company and internally. So, when I first started thinking about this, I said, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and diagram this workflow out. And I started to do that. And by the way, I think this is diagramming workflows is a valuable thing to do. And it's helpful when we're setting up an ERP. But this got to be, even though it's simple, got to be a little more complex than I wanted to do. But I do think it highlights the efficiency that can be gained if you can start to automate and integrate these processes. So, because otherwise, each time you go along, you're going to have to do something manually or otherwise to pull data from all these various sources. And that also means creating friction points between you and your customer and also internally. And let me explain what I mean by that. So one of the reasons that I chose this flow is because I think we've all requested service calls, right? And the ensuing customer frustration that's friction. And that friction is caused anytime we inconvenience our customers by things like not being available, sitting on hold, not responding in a timely manner, any of those things. And today it's even more complex or more of an issue because we've really changed the way we like to communicate. Many of us, I think me included, hate with a capital H talking on the phone. So methods like text and email are way more palatable today. And we all want instant gratification. That's the standard of any interaction these days. So in this simple process of just requesting a service call, it's really could be painful if it's not done in a way that the customer wants and when they want it. And of course, that plays into something that's very important, which is first impressions. How much do you know about them? And especially if an existing customer, and how easy is the scheduling process? Can you keep them informed throughout the service process? And internally, is collecting the right information and not missing anything? This also causes major friction internally. And then finally, there's the invoicing and collection process, which can always be a very high cause of friction between not only between you and the customer, but internally. So you guys, look, you may be experienced all of these, you may experience none of them, and you may have more. But I think, again, we can agree that in our competitive environment and with a worrisome economy, none of these are desirable. And, as an aside, look, we spend a lot of worry about trying to attract customers. There's actually another event going on right now that has 650 attendees that are registers that are talking about, social media advertising and whatnot. We spend a lot of time worrying about that. And I'd suggest that we ought to spend a lot more time worrying about how we engage with the people that we do attract, so that when they do come to us, we don't let them get away. But that's just me. What we can do from a technology point of view is to try and eliminate the friction. And one of that ways is automating the processes so that things happen easily and in a way they choose. It's better for them and it's better for you. For instance, we can give customers multiple contact options to request an appointment, all of which put your customer information at your fingertips, whether that's through your website, from a phone call, or even a text message. Secondly, we can provide multiple scheduling options, letting a customer request an appointment 24/7 from a web link, or even one in an ad on a social media or a more standard office setting. Scheduling that's efficient and painless all makes this process less friction. And when it's done, it automatically trigger your branded and personalized messaging, keeping the customer well informed from the start all the way through a satisfaction rating. And last, we should be able to take the friction out of the collection process by providing multiple invoice and collection options, all done electronically, and include collecting when and where the work is done. And this is just the first part of your ERP's job, right? The second part, though, is the need for integration. So for your ERP to serve you, it needs to integrate data. And in this case, we use two databases to bring all the data together with the objective of being to only enter it one time, but share it across all the platforms. This is obviously very efficient, but it also reduces errors. And second, integrating features makes the usability much easier. So for instance, in our system, we use the QuickBooks user interface, and the core functions of QuickBooks everywhere invoices and estimates are created, sent, and paid. This makes it easy to learn and consistent across the business ecosystem. Looking at one more workflow example, this is a simple one of creating an estimate at a customer site. So here's the parties that are involved in this simple process. And then step one, there's data gathering. And somehow that data then is delivered to an office, typically, where a document is created, the estimate or invoice, a PDF form or whatever fashion. And then that's then stored somehow for future use, either to be converted into an invoice or just a part of the customer's record. Could be electronically in a database, or just in a file cabinet. And then, of course, it's sent to the customer. So in this simple workflow, again, we have multiple touches of that estimate, and we have built in, more than likely, some time lag. Could be short, could be quite significant. What our goal is with integration is to make that all done in one step process. So let's take a look how we do that. And in this case here, the technology is being used to collect that information at the source. In this case, it's showing our smartphone app, but it could be a tablet or even a laptop. And then with one click, you should be able to send that information right to the customer's record, into QuickBooks Online, and to the customer, all instantly. And if the customer accepts it right there on the spot, then with one click, you should be able to notify all those locations that the work has been approved, and you can even collect a deposit. So what has we accomplished in a situation like that? Well, we've reduced the touches to one, reducing the chance for input errors. We've increased efficiency, and we eliminated any time lag between the potential and potential customer friction. So that's our general goal for all our workflows: reduce the number of touches to save time and eliminate errors, and speed the processes up, which ultimately helps with cash flow and growth. So let me wrap up this section here just by asking the simple question of us, can this be done easily, and can it be done affordably? Well, The answer to that is yes. It's not without some work, but I strongly suggest you get a partner. Trying to do it on your own will be frustrating and ultimately be less effective and more costly. Secondly, plan a starting point. Don't try to do everything at once. For example, our Xceleran Central provides a number of core key elements. You may not need all of them to start, but you may need more. And that's one of the reasons why we partner with Intuit. They have an open API that allows for integrations to all types of application. And there's an app store, Intuit App Store. There are over 100 apps that we can tap into, and all of them are API driven. So we can, almost all of them can be integrated into our ERP. Third, watch your budget. Pick a system, a process that will let you add, subtract, grow without any penalties. ERPs can be a high ticket proposition, so be careful. Fortunately, we're not. Instead of several $1,000s a month, or we're several $100s a month, and that includes almost all your software. Fourth, make sure you create a system that gives you a level of command and control, a level that you need to make sure that only the right people have access to the right information. Make sure the level of data integration accomplishes the objectives of efficiency and error prevention, and be sure it's usable. And last, be open to new ideas. That's not the way we do things. It's just not something that should be part of this process. Open your eyes up, open yourself up to new ideas. And, we'll talk about change management and how we can manage that in our organizations. Okay, so with that, we're going to bring this to an end and open up to questions. I hope this was useful, and I hope you will join the community and participate with us to learn from each other. Besides the community page, we will be bringing in guests, and if you have some to suggest, we're really more than willing to do that. And we hope you also consider connecting with us on our Xceleran Software Alignable page, and visit our website. Click on any of our products and you can do a feature tour. They're totally anonymous, no logins required. If you want to, configure a system and play around with that, you can do that easily there as well. And even better, if you click on the link in Xceleran, you can go ahead and see our Xceleran Alignable page. And there's a special offer for the first 100 that go ahead and sign up for Xceleran Central. First 90 days are totally free. And there's also all kinds of other discounts. And then there's links directly for a feature tour and also for a configurator that has some discounts already built into it. All right, so again, thank you, those of us who joined. I hope we're hitting the mark with this group, and and if we are, I hope you'll tell us. And if you think there's something we're missing, I'll help you. You'll tell us that as well.